diesen ganzen Kontinent herrschen. Wir halten durch. Ich bin der Zorn Gottes.
Welcome to Fanboy and the Snob. I'm Chad. That's Chris. And Andrew's with us today also. What did we watch, Chris?
We watched Aguirre, The Wrath of God by Werner Herzog, 1970 whatever, right?
Why?
Why did we watch it? Because this is one of Chris's favorite movies.
Why?
Why do you think Chris likes it, Chad?
So slow and depressing?
It was a fun movie. A lot of just good scenes. Of
You said there was going to be a battle.
There was multiple
There was
battles.
people being sniped out.
What about the battle with the mutiny? That was a battle. Real fights aren't like fucking 20-minute kung fu battles. It's like 1-2 done. Like, the reason boxing matches take, like, no, a round's 30 seconds and you can get knocked out in the first 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude draws a sword, he got shot in the throat, you know, like, bing, bang, boom.
Also, let's be honest, it's a German film. It was in German, and we all know Chris's favorite German.
Werner Herzog?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's I think he's the only German living I like. I'll say that.
Yeah.
A lot of Germans suck nowadays. They're all
Why?
fucking poofters.
You're a poofter.
Is that bannable? No, YouTube doesn't know Cockney slang. What am I saying?
No, what's this? Why do you like this movie? What's it about?
I think it's a very, very pretty movie. Like, but not pretty like bright colors and flashing lights. It's all like green, brown, just people looking sad and emaciated, and like, you know, bug bites and fucking mud and just anguish. This is a movie. I like movies that are. I like walking out of a theater being like, "Damn, that sucked," but not like, "Damn, that sucked," the movie, but just like, "Damn," like Schindler's List. I fucking love Schindler's List because it's just a depressing, just like, oh god, now they're shooting them. Like, I love movies like that.
Yeah.
So this movie's about not Francisco. That's the famous Pizarro. This is the other one. Did you catch that? You thought it'd be the famous Pizarro, but it was the other Pizarro, the one that dies in fucking Brazil or something. No, because they came in from the West Coast. So they came in through the Andes, which is why they start in the movie walking down the hills, and then they hit the rivers, which is when the movie really starts. So basically, like, this Pizarro guy, who I assume is either a brother or a cousin of the famous Pizarro, a priest, a hero of a great battle when so at one point in time Spain got conquered by the Moors, which were North African Muslims, and so they got Spain, borders get pushed all the way up to where like France is, and then one day the Spanish were like, fuck this, Reconquista, and they just came in with the fucking wrath of God and wiped the Moors off the continent, and this guy was a hero at a great battle. So he's there for some reason. Both a wife of the second in command and Aguirre's daughter, and then just Spanish guys,
Slaves,
and 200 slaves, and they're just walking down the Andes with the goal of finding El Dorado.
One of the funniest, well, not funniest, one of the weirdest things about this movie is all the slaves are in the beginning, but then you just see like everybody in the party just slowly like shrink down, and all the slaves just disappear at one point.
Well, the slaves stay with Pizarro.
Yeah.
All 200, except for 2 oarmen for each raft. And the translator guy, who was like, I used to be a fucking prince. This sucks.
They used to not even be able to look at my face.
Now I have to. But at the same time, fuck you. Why would you make that a rule? Don't look at me. So you deserve your fate. I think that's kind of his little story, is like, I deserve this.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie is like, it's like, hey, watch this guy's life fall apart real quick. It's fucking awesome.
What do you think, Andrew?
It's a historical movie. It's based on a true story, obviously, and it's kind of interesting. This is a part of history I don't really pay much attention to, because I don't know, this time period doesn't really interest me that much.
Well,
But
no, that's the crazy part
We're just
about.
not taught this.
No, we are taught this, but Andrew's explaining a very interesting thing about historians. Like, why did I choose to learn about Rome? Because it interested me. Andrew wasn't interested in South America. I was interested in South America. Andrew probably knows a little bit more about Poland than me. I don't know dick about Poland other than they wore wings one time. You know what I'm saying? So don't apologize for not knowing about South America. It just wasn't your fucking field of focus.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's just but I've always heard the stories, because this transcends everything, is the lost city of El Dorado, the city of gold and everything. So
it's all of it in one.
Which ultimately ends up just not existing.
Yeah.
Probably there somewhere.
Well,
guys.
with the invention of LiDAR now, they think, because now that they can just scan the jungles using lasers, they're finding all these lost cities. And it's like, holy shit, maybe there were cities, and because it's a jungle, 20 years, city's gone. It's just complete. The fucking jungle was a character in this movie, too.
Especially the way the water flooded the area and everything. All that gold and everything's probably just washed away.
Yeah. Well, there's so much gold there.
Yeah.
There's so much gold in the South American continent for some reason. There was just so much gold that when the Spanish came over and were like, fucking gold, the natives were like, yeah, what of it? Like, they didn't understand its importance to us.
The thing I appreciate the most about this movie is obviously like all the scenes in it. You kept pointing out how it just looks like paintings, the way they were making them pose and all this stuff.
Like the lady with her hair down looking like this way like no one would sit there like this unless they were told to pose that way.
Yeah, there were scenes where like the scene he's talking about, the lady was just staring forward. What's his name?
Which one? Shot in the throat?
Ursula?
Urshela or something like that.
Ursula's just sitting there like this. Well, the girl's just like brushing his hair, but they're both standing perfectly still, and the hand just moves slowly.
And it you could see that as like a Gothic era or Romantic era painting of the 50s, 60s. It looked like a painting from the 50s, 60s. It was pretty cool.
But I like about nobody thinks about like how hard it was to like try to conquer or discover new lands and everything back in the day, even to go on like a little trip. Because during the whole movie, you just see Native Americans like popping out here and there.
Yeah. Or coming up to them and being like, we knew gods were real. We knew you guys would show up. What's up? God rocks. And then they're like, this is the word of God. Yeah. God damn, this movie is so interesting.
Yeah.
I love Werner Herzog. He's probably one of my favorite filmmakers.
It's just a thing that like no human will ever
Experience again. Yeah. Even that the Daniel Radcliffe Jungle movie was pretty fucking intense, but it wasn't like this.
It was a different kind of fear.
I honestly felt bad for Ursua. I had to look up how to pronounce that.
Oh, is that how it was?
Butcher it. Ursua. I felt bad for him because like I felt like he knew like this was a lost cause, and he was like, we really need to turn around and go back. Like this is our men are dying. This isn't worth it.
And then Aguirre's like, I never turn back. We're finding El Dorado. And then he's like, oh, but I'm in charge, Pizarro of Spain. And he goes, we're not in Spain. And then it's like, that's where you're like, oh, this Aguirre guy gets it.
Well, to go on Aguirre's side before he just loses it.
Way off.
He was trying to put it plainly, being like, this isn't Spain. This isn't how you survive out here.
If we march back by land, they'll pick us off one by one. Yeah. Therefore, our only option is to just keep going forward. Fuck it. We're already dead. Is kind of like his logic, I think.
I don't think he knew how bad it was going to get.
Yeah. Well, no one knew how bad it was going to get.
I don't think he knew like how like stealthy the Native Americans were, how like the lands and everything.
How many times did you see the Indians?
Here and there.
Yeah, but there were a lot of scenes where they were in the scene.
Yeah.
You just couldn't see them because
it's like
jungle.
We were watching a pretty bad picture quality.
We were watching it at 360. Well, it's a 1970 what?
2 at the very end of 72, technically 73 by that point, December 29th.
But 72 cameras. We were probably watching it. It could have been a little clearer. It's free on YouTube.
The thing is, I don't mind older movies like this looking.
I just didn't like the pixelation. That's what I hate about watching on YouTube is the pixels.
Yeah, 'cause when you upload it, it just gets
pixelated.
Yeah,
and that bothers the shit out of me. But this movie, I knew would benefit from not being able to see everything clearly. Yeah. Like the scene where they're discussing the mutiny. The two guys behind Ursula they put their helmets down, and then you just cannot see their face. It's all black, and I was like, yeah.
Well, even you talking about the scenes with the Indians and everything in the background, you just see, you're looking at the background.
And you see something in the jungle move.
During the whole movie, I'm like, every time there was a background shot, I'm like,
you
trying to pay attention to subtitles and look, but you just see like a little flicker, like,
you're like, fuck.
So it makes me wonder, like, if we watch this in like
clearer
HD,
yeah, we'll be able to see more.
That's why I hate HD movies with movies like this.
Yeah. But I do like that it would do a shot, it would show a guy with his musket just looking at the jungle for like a couple seconds. You'd see this guy's face, you'd see his gun, and then it would hang on the jungle for like a minute. And then you're sitting there, you're like, this is dumb. And then you're like, wait, what was that? Hold on, what was that? And then you're like, oh, that's what this guy is standing there with the gun thinking, like.
Yeah.
You know, like, Werner Herzog, he gets you into people's brains really well. It was written, produced, and directed by him. This is his fucking movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was saying it's based on true story. I guess you were saying it's based on the monk's journal that they found, right?
Supposedly, this monk's journal is the only thing that made it back into Spain. It could be a true story. It could be complete fabrication. It could be an adaptation. Who knows with stuff from the 1500s?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, Columbus discovered America, but there were maps before Columbus was born showing North, South, and Antarctica.
Yeah.
So it's like, how much of it's true? You know? I do like that when the priest stops writing, he's like, so-and-so drank the ink thinking it was medicine. I can no longer write. And then we just stop getting journal entries.
Yeah, and the rest of the movie is him being like, I think this is probably what happened.
I like how the movie's told through journal entry.
Yeah.
January 7th, we lost the rats.
So Usura was a known explorer, and he did find he looks like he spent a lot of time in South America. I mean, he found a city in Colombia.
Ooh.
So he was an actual person.
Oh, I have no doubt that like I said, like I think this is one of those stories where it's like real, maybe. You know, like the people existed, they were in South America, but
Yeah, but you gotta think of how many Spanish explorers
they
tried to find.
There's a reason South America speaks Spanish. You know what I mean? Like they completely conquered that nation, that continent, which is why they were like, "Fuck Europe, you guys can keep fighting Napoleon and shit. We're going there."
I can't even imagine like trying to discover new lands back then, being like, that's like the people going to try to. There's like those little tribes here and there that
Like North Senegal Island.
Yeah. Imagine like going there and trying to like search for things, knowing they're all around you and everything. It's like that one guy that was like going there and they just started throwing spears at him and arrows and he just died.
Just died.
Yeah.
What about the guy that's just walking and he catches in the rope and swings up and you don't see what happened? You just see the guy look around for him and then look up and scream and run away. So it's like, whoa, what happened? I assume there was like a spike or something and he went into the spike.
Yeah.
Or maybe there was a guy up in the tree waiting for him and just slit his throat.
Sniped him with an arrow.
Dude, what about when they fucking... So this movie is just a collection of scenes because the plot is watch these guys go insane.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, during the movie, they're starting to starve. They have... What's the crazy guy's name?
Aguirre?
He puts the fat war hero in charge. He's the emperor.
Yeah, he makes him the emperor of New Spain. And he's like, that much land is mine, and that much land is mine.
And you see him, they're like counting kernels of corn, counting grains of rice, everything. He's there like splurging on like fruit and everything.
Yeah, just
so obviously
he winds up getting killed or something.
Yeah.
He dies.
He dies.
And Aguirre's like, all right, I'm in charge now.
Yeah, that's what he was hoping for.
Yep. The way he manipulated everyone. Like the mutiny scene even, he's like, Cortez was told to turn back, but he didn't, and look what he did.
Yeah.
He conquered all of Mexico with a handful of men.
I feel like if he had a better like group of people with him,
if he had a better
more
second
capable,
in command, not that weird la guy, if he had a better...
Well, that was like the mentally ill friend. It's like, hey, go do this.
Yeah, but he was also seeking counsel in the mentally ill friend.
I don't think he was seeking counsel. I think he was talking to him to try to rationalize his train of thoughts. You know what I mean?
So,
like, if you're trying to like think of something and you're like, I need to talk to somebody about this. So you're talking
speaking
to
at them, not to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was more of that because that guy was just a blank slate. He would do whatever he told him
I
to.
do that to you a lot.
Fuck you.
I don't know, Andrew. What was your overall favorite scene in this movie?
Well, I don't know if I would say it was my favorite, but one that kind of made me feel really weird was Usura's wife or mistress or whatever. How about when after he gets hung, she's so depressed that she just walks into the woods,
Oh,
like
yeah.
just doesn't even care.
And
I was just like, oh, she's totally gonna get raped and everything else.
or cannibalized.
Well, the Indians they ran into, they ended up going to like the little village.
Well, they happen
had.
to float by a village.
So they go there and explore it, and there's like body parts and like stew.
Well, that's the burning village. That's one dude. That scene fucking. They're sitting on the raft, and then like in the distance they just see a village burning, and they're like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
You know. Holy
so I
shit.
like to think like a neighboring tribe came and murdered them, ate them, left dead bodies. Be like, look what happened.
Yep. Yeah.
And then they left.
That whole noble savage myth goes right out the window when you actually think about it. Yeah.
So one thing I find interesting also is I'm kind of reading here about the actual history of all this stuff, and apparently the priest or the brother, he somehow survived and lived until 18.
Oh, so he's
1584.
In the movie. He gets a fucking arrow to the chest.
Yeah. According to this, he eventually made it to Lima, and he was in contact with the Pope at the time, but eventually died.
If he survived in the movie, it would have taken away from the ending of the main character.
Of Aguirre standing on a boat full of dead people talking to monkeys, being like, "I will rule this land. Who's with me?" And it's just corpses around him, and he's stumbling. Yeah, that ending was rad. It's just the 360 of the boat, and all you see is just like, oh god, and this one dude who's like, "I'm gonna rule this place because I'm the wrath of God."
Ooh, I do feel bad.
That makes me wonder how he made it back, because this is supposed to take place in 1561, and he died in 1584. So that makes me wonder how he made it back. But according to some of the stuff in here, he apparently had a good relationship with some of the natives. So maybe he used that to his advantage. I don't know.
I mean, that's how you lived, honestly, in the jungle. Like, unless they were cannibals, you tried to be friends with them. Because this is their territory. That's how Cortez conquered Mexico. He made peace with all the tribes that weren't the Aztecs and went, "Hey, why don't we fuck up the Aztecs?" And everyone was like, "That's a good idea."
Yeah, I could see it. Him coming up upon them, no weapons or anything.
Well, he had a sword. That was cool.
Yeah.
When they stormed the beach and he has the sword.
But that was in the movie, though.
Yeah.
Even if he had the sword, I doubt he would go guns blazing.
Priests in that time period with the Crusades happening and stuff like that, you were allowed to murder if you were a priest, because if you're doing it, God must have wanted them to die.
But yeah, this movie, it was
it's fun.
Yeah.
You're gonna think about it. This is one of those movies that's gonna stick in your head, because every so often you're gonna see something and be like, "Oh God, imagine being that guy in that raft stuck in the whirlpool, and then night falls and arrows just start coming at you, so you shoot blindly, but then you don't get killed, so they take you as a slave and eat you." What about when they're coming down the river and all the natives start running and screaming something, and they ask the translator, "What are they screaming?" And they're screaming, and he goes, "Oh, meat. Meat is in the river."
Yeah.
It's like, oh God.
The funny thing about that is they think they're running away. They're like, "We won this," but no, they're just
running into the jungle.
Waiting.
But they burned their village and went, "Fuck you guys," and stole all their stuff.
Yeah, even with that, they're waiting. They end up killing them all. They're like,
well, who's to say it was the same tribe? We saw like 4 different tribes.
I think they were being stalked.
We saw the tribe that was wearing white, the tribe with the things in their hair. The cannibal tribe was like basically naked, the one they fought on the beach.
Yeah.
I did feel kind of bad for those 2 nice ones that came over and they were like, "We want to be your friend."
Well, they gave him the Bible, and this is kind of like a 1-for-1. Like, he shouldn't have thrown the Bible on the ground.
He didn't know what it was.
Guy says this is the word of God. He understands what a God is. Disrespectful. Also, shame on the Spanish for not getting that he wouldn't get what it is. So it's like it's mutual misunderstanding. Nobody's to blame, but both parties are in the wrong.
Yeah.
That's my feeling on that situation. That would have been me. "Whoa, guys, we're both wrong here. Let's work it out."
I also like how he held the book up to his ear like he was trying to listen to it.
Yeah, trying to listen to the word of God, because they don't have written language. Yeah. The example of like the people in Lima, what were they? The Inca. They didn't have written language. They would have like a long stick and they would braid ropes and the ropes would tell a story based off their color and length. I don't know how it works, but apparently that was their written language, was different colored and braided ropes of different lengths.
Eat, kill.
Probably something
All
basic like that.
symbolized,
Well,
like-
hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fancy, but it's still a very
Well,
simple
hieroglyphs is a lot more
to it that
advanced
we
than-
don't know, but
No, it's a lot more advanced than lengths of string. That was
I don't
probably
know.
just like little things being like, let's go hunt.
But
Let's
they
go do
have
this.
these giant tapestries that are like these epic stories that we can't fucking read. It's fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
Lost civilizations are cool. This movie rocks. So much fun. It's so much fun.
I wouldn't say fun. I'd say more interesting.
It's so pretty.
The one thing I wouldn't mind going back and watching this again, but the English version.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because whenever I watch a movie with subtitles, I find myself just staring at the subtitles too much and not actually watching the movie itself.
I hate when people say that because all that means is you haven't watched enough movies with subtitles.
It takes a while to be able to like train your eyes to
look
follow
down
the screen.
because you don't really need to read the entire subtitle because there's these things called mistranslations and it's not exactly what he's saying. So what you do is you look down, you look for the key words, and you understand the scenario that the scene is portraying. So you look for the keywords, you look up, and then you hear him speak, and you go, okay, so that's what he's saying. There's a lot of, like, with German, it was close enough to English that you guys were picking up on some words without having to read the subtitles, right? Like, I don't know, that's how I like subtitle movies, you gotta look down, remember what the sentence, but not exactly the words, and then watch the screen and try and piece it together. That's how I do it. I don't actually read them.
I've just gotten really fast at reading subtitles, so like I can bounce back and forth pretty well.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people try to focus too much on the words, like you're saying, and
You just gotta speed read it and
Yeah.
then go right back to watching it. Look for the keywords and then watch the screen.
yeah,
Also,
it honestly makes me pay attention to the movie a lot more than if it was in English. You know what I mean?
and also the reason I would watch this in German is because of Kinski's performance,
Yeah.
the Aguirre character.
Even though all this movie's ADR.
do you guys want to talk about? Well, it's still Klaus's voice,
Yeah.
but it's his mannerisms. Do we want to talk about Klaus for a little bit? Klaus Kinski, the star of this film.
Yeah.
Chad, from
As soon as I saw him, I hated him.
well, you're supposed to because he's a villain in the movie and a villain in real life. Chad, from your memory, can you remember what I told you about him?
He went to a mental institute twice, right?
Once.
What did he go for? He
tried to strangle his scene. He stalked her for an undisclosed amount of time and then tried to strangle her.
And he also raped his daughter.
That was
for 10
later, though.
years.
We're still in the mental hospital.
Yeah, he just had very outrageous outbursts of anger.
And they tried
violence.
to, at first they thought it was schizophrenia. And then they went, no. This is a psychopath, antisocial behavior person. So, like, this dude is legit crazy violent. And, I don't know, man. He was pretty rad in the movie.
He seen the Xanax.
He just needed to chill, but he couldn't. He tried to kill Werner Herzog on the set of this movie, I'm pretty sure. Werner was trying to get him to do something, and Klaus was like, nope, I want to do it my way. And Herzog was like, I'll fire you, and Klaus was like, I'll kill you, and pulled his sword. And then...
I think it's just a very severe case of like bipolar or schizophrenia.
No, they said he was a straight up antisocial fucking psychopath.
Yeah, but this is diagnostics back then.
Diagnostics back then were a little more accurate. We didn't care about your feelings. If you were a fucking crazy person, we told you. Now we come up with things like BPD and what's the other one? Borderline personality disorder. That's my...
These are Chris's views and do not reflect fanboy and a snob. Well, at least the fanboy, and maybe Andrew.
He died in 91.
Yeah, of a heart attack.
Good.
I think he's one of the best actors I've ever seen. He's
It's
like
a separation of art and
he's like a
character.
Cosby. Cosby's a fucking monster in his personal life, but put that dude on stage and give him a microphone, and you'll laugh whether
I
you.
just don't like how he raped his daughter for 10 years.
Oh well, sucks. It's like Roman Polanski, dude. He made Rosemary's Baby, but he also fucking drugged and raped a chick in a fucking hot tub.
Well, Chad, do you still enjoy watching Chris Benoit matches, or do you just get really sick to your stomach as soon as he comes out?
That's
the same thing.
Do not say that is different.
That is
Do
the same
not say
thing.
that is different.
It's a performance, and he's a performer.
He was not like that his whole life. He fucking got so messed up from the concussions.
Well, who's to say that they didn't even know concussions were a thing when
his
Klaus...
brain? Have you seen?
But
People
when
talk about his
Klaus,
brain scan
yes,
and
but when
everything.
Klaus was acting, concussions weren't real. It was suck it up, bitch. Maybe he had a bunch of concussions, and that's what made him do the things he did.
I don't think he did.
He was a performer and a musician. He was an actor and a musician in the 50s.
Yeah.
Werner Herzog's favorite thing to do was make the actors perform their own stunts whether they wanted to or not.
Mm.
Because he wants, if it's scary, he wants the actor to be scared.
The scenes on the rafts were a little.
Here's a suit of armor. Here's some rapids. Deal with it. Don't fall off.
These poor animals, man.
Yeah.
Just falling everywhere. And
PETA wasn't real yet.
yeah. That monkey. He picks up a monkey and talks to him and just goes, fuck. I think they put the splash in afterwards.
Dude, his daughter had it the worst.
In real life?
No, in the movie. Poor daughter. She was like, I'm 15. What am I doing here? And then
Yeah.
she just... God,
Yeah.
I love this movie. What about the... who's your favorite side character?
I can't remember how the flute goes now.
There
There was one character who played a flute, but instead of having like, it was like just
He
a
was
bunch
playing
of
the
flute.
Peruvian pan flute, so it's like all the flutes of different sizes tied together, and he's just going like...
And it wasn't even like
Good.
but it was so like...
It was just so like bizarre and off-putting because here's fucking Aguirre just fucking skulking around the ship.
And I like the first time we hear him play, he's just staring at him like this.
What the fuck are you doing?
But
He's
it-
leaning against the pole, just looking.
But I like
at
to
it.
think he's like loving it. That's just him loving it.
He
It's so
can't-
whimsical.
He can't be happy, so he's like, I like this. Ugh. And that song plays throughout the movie. When it's not creepy silence or jungle sounds, it's that pan flute song.
Yeah. There's like no soundtrack. There's the beginning,
Title credits, like
Yeah.
it's like a fucking Mozart opera.
and then it's just nature sounds and stuff. It's very unsettling at times.
Yeah, this movie's... there was a couple scenes, like, when they... Again, I'm bringing up when they fucking stroll past the cannibals and they're screaming meat. Like, that's horrifying. That's
Yeah.
probably the scariest, especially if they outnumber... Which they do. They outnumber the Spaniards, so they're
Yeah,
just...
the whole movie, it's just like arrows coming out of nowhere, just sort of raining
Constantly.
upon them.
And then poison darts and then spears.
They're looking at it, it's like, it's a very small arrow, and then one guy's like, it's poison, don't touch.
Yeah.
But yeah, would you recommend this movie, Andrew?
Yeah. Oh well. For someone who likes history and stuff like that, definitely. For someone like you, Chad, probably not because you were falling asleep during the movie. So,
Honestly,
It is not the movie's fault. Would you recommend this movie, Chris?
100%.
For history's sake and trying to get into the mind of somebody exploring back then, I would definitely recommend it.
Well, I'd recommend it for two people. Fucking film snobs and history buffs.
Yeah.
Because this movie's very, very, very pretty. I keep saying that. This movie, visually speaking, is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Fuck Avatar. This movie rocks.
I can just, like, how hard it would be to get some of the camera angles and
Well,
stuff.
you saw, like, Werner struggling sometimes when he
Yeah.
was walking along them.
And the
shit.
raft scenes and everything.
When he's on the raft with them, with
In
his
whitewater rapids and
Yeah,
everything.
with his camera, trying to film them
I
struggling.
just picture him being like this.
Like, just fucking, like, bolt me to the floor. I don't care if I drown.
Yeah, that's a nuts
What a
movie.
great song. I'm gonna do my next couple films might be Werner Herzog films. I'm gonna take you guys because Werner Herzog's vibe is either this or really funny. There's no in between. It's either like slow suffering death or a comedy. Because Grizzly Man is technically a comedy. Even
Oh,
though,
he made Grizzly Man?
yeah, the
Alright.
movie about the guy who goes into the woods to kill song. You know that voice? That's this guy.
Yeah, it should be a next movie.
Yeah, Grizzly Man's so good.
All right.
I love this movie.
Yeah, it's free on YouTube.
It's so good.
You can get the English version or the subtitle version.
But I
We always recommend subtitles.
I recommend renting it though and paying for the best quality possible. Give fucking whoever owns this movie some money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This movie's worth it in my opinion.
Mm.
I wouldn't steal it.